The year is 1717. The Caribbean is thick with heat and uncertainty.
Merchant ships vanish without warning. Smoke rises on the horizon, and somewhere beyond the mist, a black flag climbs into the wind.
This is not the world of storybooks and treasure maps.
This is the real Golden Age of Piracy. Hello everyone, I'm Jason.
And I'm Jane, and this is Willis Through Time.
And today we have a very interesting topic. How were pirates created? I think it's important to understand pirates didn't simply appear out of nowhere. They were created by war. For more than a decade, European powers were locked in a massive conflict known as the War of the Spanish Succession.
French lines are collapsing. Push them back. But we must hold our position here, sir. The English are breaking through on our...
Britain, France, Spain, and their allies fought for control of territory, trade, and power across the Atlantic world. To weaken their enemies, governments issued license to captains known as privateers. Privateers were essentially legal pirates. They attacked enemy ships and kept a portion of the captured cargo.
By 1714, the war was coming to an end, which meant thousands of privateers suddenly found themselves unemployed. With no war meant no pay. And many of these privateers now felt that they had no purpose. But they still had ships, and they still had cannons, and they still had crews accustomed to seizing wealth at sea.
At the same time, the Caribbean had become one of the richest trade routes on Earth. Spanish treasure fleets carried gold and silver from the Americas back to Europe. Merchant vessels transported sugar, tobacco, spices, and rum across the Atlantic. Many of these ships sailed with little protection. To a desperate sailor with a fast vessel and hungry crew, that looked like opportunity.
Life aboard a pirate ship was anything but glamorous. The ships were cramped, days were long, and often hot. Their food spoiled quickly, and it was common that fresh water often ran short. Another challenge was disease, which spread easily. And let's not forget the storms, which could destroy a vessel in a matter of hours.
But pirate ships also operated very differently from the rigid naval hierarchies of European empires. And many, perhaps most pirate crews practiced a surprising form of democracy. Captains were often elected by the crew, not appointed. The crew insisted the important decisions could be voted on and everyone had a voice. And most pirate crews agreed to written rules known as pirate articles. These agreements determined how treasure would be divided.
10% for the cook. Aye, 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 aye. That's 20 doubloons for me.
And how discipline would be maintained. For sailors who endured brutal treatment in the naval service, piracy sometimes offered a strange kind of freedom.
Of course, that freedom came with constant danger. Royal navies hunted pirates relentlessly. Capture usually meant a single fate: execution.
Among the pirates who sailed the Caribbean, a few names became legendary. One of the most infamous was Blackbeard. Historians believe his real name was likely Edward Teach, and Blackbeard understood something powerful about fear, that it could be used as a weapon. Before battle, he would tie slow-burning fuses into his beard, which caused smoke to surround his face. It was terrifying to those who saw him approaching enemy ships. To those watching from the deck of a merchant vessel, he appeared almost supernatural.
On the rail! To the quarter deck! Let no soul live!
Often, ships surrendered without firing a single shot.
Piracy also produced figures who challenged expectations. Two of the most famous were Anne Bonny and Mary Read. Both women sailed with the pirate captain Calico Jack.
Hold the line, Mary. I am.
Disguised among male crew members, they fought alongside pirates in battle. When their ship was eventually captured, reports suggest that many of the male pirates were too drunk to resist. Anne Bonny and Mary Read were not, and they fought fearlessly until the end.
By the late 1710s, piracy had grown bold. The harbor of Nassau in the Bahamas became a gathering place for pirate crews from across the Atlantic. Ships arrived to repair damage. Loot was traded. Crews celebrated their successes in crowded taverns. And for a time, pirates governed themselves. Some historians have referred to Nassau during this period as a pirate republic.
But empires do not tolerate rebellion forever. In 1718, Britain sent a new governor to restore order, Woodes Rogers. Rogers offered pirates a royal pardon if they surrendered. Some accepted. Those that didn't were hunted.
British naval patrols increased across the Caribbean. Pirate captains were hunted down, some captured, while others were killed in battle. Blackbeard himself died in 1718 during a violent confrontation with Royal Navy forces. After the fight, his severed head was displayed on a British ship as a warning.
Gallows were erected in ports across the Caribbean. Some pirates were left hanging in iron cages along harbor entrances, a grim message to anyone who might consider following the pirate path. Within a few short decades, the Golden Age of Pirates had come to an end. The Golden Age of Pirates lasted barely 20 years, yet the legends it created have endured for centuries. These men were not the cartoon characters of storybooks.
They were sailors shaped by war, driven by desperation, and willing to risk everything for freedom in the open sea. Some became wealthy, many died violently, but a few pirates became something more than criminals. They became legends.
And none became more feared than a pirate whose name still echoes through history. A man who turned fear itself into a weapon.
A pirate who set the seas of the Atlantic on fire. His name was Blackbeard.
Next time on Willis Through Time, we step into the life of the most infamous pirate of them all.
The legend himself, Blackbeard.
If you enjoy going back in time through the curiosities of history, please consider subscribing to our channel.
And we will see you next week right here on Willis Through Time.